Hey guys, Paul Lynn here, talking to you today about PLC. And here you are, you've got to that point where you know how to program a PLC, or maybe you're really close to that point where whatever you need that PLC to do, you can write that program, you can create that solution, you can make it perform your will, right? Oh, that's a good feeling, isn't it? And when you get to that point, or when you're close to that point, something that's probably going through your head, and I know because it goes through a lot of my students' heads, and they come to me and ask me this question is, Paul, I'm just about to finish your courses, or I just got done learning, I know all about that. Now, what's next? What else should I learn to further my career, to continue to grow, to eligibilize me for every job opportunity I'll ever see with the word PLC in it? That's a really good question. And here's my answer. There's no one right place to go, but there are several different topics that you could consider branching into and learning and picking up to supplement your PLC and automation skills. These are things which will definitely add to your capabilities and make you more capable of developing automation solutions, and thus ultimately make you more attractive to employers and people trying to hire PLC contractors. So, first thing on my mind is SQL, right? Structured Query Language. Whenever you are creating this PLC program and this PLC is running, it's crunching a bunch of numbers inside, right? Data points. It's measuring pressures and times and temperatures and how many times things happen and what time of day it is and how many of these we did this hour and that day. And there's just a lot of data in a PLC. Well, for many PLC applications, we don't care about most of that data. Really, let the PLC control the machine, and this machine is really just a small part of a bigger process, and that bigger process maybe we're tracking some data and monitoring on, but this one little component in that whole big assembly line, we don't really care, right? But there are certainly going to be those applications where we do care. In fact, I've worked on several projects where the PLC was really just facilitating a monitoring system. So it wasn't really controlling devices and running a process. It was almost doing nothing more than getting a bunch of signals in from a bunch of different instruments and taking all of that data and dumping it straight into, you guessed it, a database, right? So stop and think about this. You know, it's great that you can get hired to do some PLC programming, and then that company can hire some other guy or some other girl to come in and architect the database and, install the database server and create all of the queries and everything that are going to generate the reports that they need to see. It's great that you have a seat at the table, right? You can get some money there. But just imagine getting twice as much money because you can walk in and say, I can automate the PLC, and I can also create your database, and I can set up the communication between the two of them, and I can even set up all of the queries and all of the reports for you on the user end. And since one person is building the whole solution, that means one, it's going to be better integrated. It's all going to be cohesive. It's all going to be built together as one unit. That's always nice. Two, The documentation is all going to be very cohesive because it's not going to be from two different people. Instead of having two manuals and two different styles, it's going to be one manual, right? That's awesome. And three, that means you can get paid a lot more, right? You're quoting a bigger job and you're offering a better product than they would get if they had two different people. So that means you can charge more, lots more, right? That's a good thing. So thinking about it, database, that's a no-brainer. That's an excellent place to go. Next thing that comes to mind when you're thinking, what should I learn next, is going to be networking, right? Computer networking, and I'm going to add into that category industrial communications protocols. So stop and think about this. Once upon a time, right, back when Grandpa was programming PLCs, the way a PLC worked is it wasn't connected to anything but the machine that it's running on. If it had an HMI, it had one cable running directly from that HMI to the PLC, and that was it. So it was a very dumb system by today's standards. Now, wake up, it's today. Now everything's networked. We've got switches and routers. Hell, in our kitchens, the refrigerators talk to the microwaves and we have no idea of even knowing what they're saying to each other, right? It's crazy. So everything's networked, everything communicates. And that being said, while yes, there are still those very basic communication protocols out there where the PLC talks to the HMI, talks to the PLC, and that's it. In most systems, even between those two, you're going to need to have a network switch or a router. And once we've got that switch and that router in there, that opens us up to security vulnerabilities. Ooh. That also adds into the equation a bunch of other opportunity for integration with greater systems. So now it's not just, I have this factory full of 100 dumb machines that aren't aware of anything beyond their own little square on the ground. No, now every single machine in my plant, they can all talk to one another, and that's a network, boys and girls. And once again, we're in this situation where, if all you know how to do is program the PLC, I mean, sure, you can go in there and you can get some money. And they can hire networking people to do all of the networking and integration, and that's fine. But if you're like me and you like money and you want lots of it so you can buy all kinds of cool shit on Amazon, learning that networking, not such a bad idea, right? Because now you can be the one that gets in there and not just, oh, well, I can program the PLC and yeah, I can develop the HMI, but oh, I can also contribute to the network. If it's a big network, sure, you're probably going to have your own team of people doing that. But I definitely am someone you want sitting at the table while those conversations are happening, because I know networking, I know my systems and the PLCs that I'm installing better than your networking people do. I know their needs, their capabilities, their vulnerabilities. I'm somebody you want to consult with at a very minimum when you guys are setting up your networking and firewalls and all that cool stuff. When you're deciding what industrial protocols you want to use in your system and in your entire plant, sure, those networking guys know some stuff, but I'm way more involved on the actual PLC end of it. Even if I'm not able to do this whole job myself, I'm not trying to get greedy here, folks. Come on now. At a minimum, I'm someone you want to pay to sit at the table and be involved in those conversations and those decision-making processes. You see where I'm going, right? More money, more money. So that's another thing that once you get PLC licked, networking, definitely a good place to go. And a good place to get started on that is, chances are, if you're here watching my video, you already know me. You're probably in my PLC courses on plcdojo.com. And if that's the case, take a look around PLC Dojo. We've got a ton of networking courses on there. So there, you don't have to look very far to start getting in the door. There's a lot more to networking than what we've got on PLC Dojo, but PLC Dojo is an excellent place to start to really get all of the industrial side of it out of the way before you branch out into the wider landscape of, complete IT, networking, and network security and things like that. We don't specialize in on PLC Dojo. But as far as branching out from the PLC and all of the communications protocols between the automation equipment, PLC Dojo is definitely the place to start. So you might want to get that down. Another place to go after you've learned PLC is you could also start learning computer programming languages. The ones that come to mind are BASIC, even though everyone's like, BASIC, why? It's passé. Trust me, there's a reason. BASIC, Python, C++, maybe even some Java. And that sounds like a lot, but really once you learn the first one, learning the second, third, and fourth aren't much different, and it's not very complicated, okay? But here's the idea. You've got a PLC with all of its functionality built into it. That's great. You've got your HMI or your SCADA system, and those have all of their drag and drop controls and displays integrated into their development environments, and that's great. You can show data, you can send data into the PLC. Mission accomplished. But every once in a while, you get those more advanced, more exotic projects where people want the HMI to play chess and jump through hoops and launch rockets to the moon. And they want a lot of functionality that is not built into the HMI. Instead of just showing an alarm when something happens, they might want to start an alarm and run a script on the computer, which is going to create some backups and, do some other things. And how you are going to make that happen? Well, a lot of these HMI and SCADA technologies actually have scripting environments built into them, which use, you guessed it, good old BASIC, or a lot of times they can integrate with other programming languages as well through external apps and APIs and things like that. So, wouldn't it be nice if you took some time on the side and learned some of these programming languages so that when you get a customer asking, we'd like a system that could do this and do another thing, and you come up and say, well, man, that system doesn't exist. Sorry. But it just so happens I'm a guy who can invent that system for you. I can create it. Let me show you what I can do. And you walk them through the PLC and the HMI and the scripts that you're going to create and the extra apps that are going to be developed just for them and so on. I tell you what, you're talking about more money. Here it is. You can get that more money, write a bigger job, bigger manual, ongoing support for a PLC, a SCADA system, an app. Every time they update their Windows, they're calling you to update things and ensure compatibility. And I tell you what, you can make money doing this, right? It's good. I like that. Next thing that you could learn to supplement your PLC wisdom and talents would be web development, okay? The reason being, we're talking about all of that data and we're talking about all of those networking capabilities, right? Well, imagine how nice it is that aside from just walking up to the HMI, click, 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 seeing what's going on, or going into the supervisor's office, looking on the SCADA and pulling up this machine and getting a higher level overview. What if the plant manager can be at home in bed and I wonder how things are going at the plant and can just reach over, grab the cell phone, grab the tablet off of the nightstand, go to a web page, put in some credentials, and see the whole thing. And even a technician can do the same thing and even interact with the system, right? So imagine I'm the expert. I'm the one that knows all about this system. I'm the best operator we've got, but I happen to be on vacation and I'm out surfing and doing all kinds of really cool vacation-y stuff, right? You know what I'm talking about. And they have some big meltdown and emergency at the plant, and they call me because in this day and age, we're global and connected and everybody's awesome like that. And they say, Paul, help! We're struggling. We're lost. Things are going bad, real bad. And you're on vacation. Nobody here's know what to do. They're running around in circles like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do, right? And it's up to me to save the day. No problem. I'm laying there on the beach. I just whip out my cell phone, go into the web page, interact with the system, change the settings. Takes me about 10, 15 minutes and boom. Hey guys, how's it working now? Oh dude, you're magic. How'd you do it? Man, leave me alone. Guys, it's almost my turn to get back on the board again, right? I gotta go. You're the hero. So what about developing all of those systems? Now, already there are some HMI packages out there that come equipped with integrated web servers, even PLCs. For years now, many have had web servers built right into them. And that's all great. Those are kind of canned solutions. And I'm not going to name, names of any specific technologies here, but there are some that are really robust. I mean, they have mobile apps and websites and all kinds of stuff. And when possible, definitely use a canned solution. Don't go around reinventing the wheel all the time trying to make more money. It's not worth it. You're only going to ruin yourself trying to do that. So if there's a canned solution that'll get the job done and it's already on the shelf, you just have to grab it and install it, it's smarter to use that. But even with those canned solutions, there is still always going to be a need for custom solutions. We want something in our plant that those canned solutions just don't offer. What are we going to do? Well, we've got our PLC programmer doing this. Then we need to hire a web programmer. Then we need to make the web programmer try to talk to the PLC programmer and work together. That's already a struggle. And get them to coordinate and work something out. And now we have to keep paying both of these people for this entire development process, even though the PLC was done months ago. But the PLC guy still has to be there feeding bones to the web development guy, right? Just imagine you're the one that, hey, I can take a canned solution, I can program it, I can modify it, I can add in the additional features and functionality you want by building a plugin for it. And in the end, I can be the one that develops and integrates and maintains all of this stuff for you. I mean, what the hell, right? One good big job and you could practically retire on it. You could make so much money. You see what I'm saying? So that's it. Are there other things that you could learn, like getting into machine learning and stuff like that? Yes. But the further you go from this point, now you're getting into more and more exotic solutions that you're less likely to ever even encounter. But all of these things I've talked about in this video, these are all things that if you're working in PLC between more than, 2 or 3 companies, these are things that are definitely going to come up multiple times, okay? These aren't, just long shot ideas that I have that, well, maybe one day somebody might bother you for this or that. No, trust me, these are all things that I have had need or opportunity to work with on PLC jobs in my past. And yeah, so those aren't things that are going away. Those are things that are always going to be around and always be on the table for those industrious, dedicated, hardworking, studying PLC programmers who know more than just how to make the microcontroller turn a motor on and off, right? You can stop there if you don't like money, but if you do like money, keep going. You can be working and learning at the same time. Keep learning. Develop 2 or 3 or all of these other skills. It's only going to make you rich. It's only going to get you retired sooner, right? It's only going to get you driving a faster car, I'm telling you. So, hey, that's it. That's what I've got for you today. If you like this, and maybe you're not even into learning PLC yet, you're just kind of testing the waters, seeing what it's like, man, go to plcdojo.com. That is my place to teach PLC programming. That is the best place I know on planet Earth to learn PLC programming, okay? It's the cheapest and it's the best. How do you go wrong with that? Go to plcdojo.com. Also, if you like what I'm doing on here, I'm talking about PLCs, I'm telling you useful stuff, I'm working hard to try to put money in your pocket. If you like it, subscribe, because I'm not going to be putting out videos with spammy clickbait topics. Any video I create is designed to help you and make you better, faster, and stronger and richer, right? Because that's the kind of guy I am. So if you like this video, I suggest subscribing. It wouldn't hurt. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.